All right, let's get right into it. What if you could take the biggest career anxiety of our time, AI, and actually flip it into your greatest professional asset? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do here. Think of this as your practical playbook for making artificial intelligence your own personal career superpower.
I mean, this is the question on everyone's mind, right? It's that little hum of anxiety in the background of every meeting. And look, with reports saying that over 60% of white-collar workers are worried about their jobs, that concern is totally valid. But what if we're asking the wrong question entirely?
You know, you can really look at AI in one of two ways. Over on the left, you've got the replacement view. That's all about fear, what AI is going to take away from us. But on the right, there's the multiplier view. And this is where we're going to be spending our time, seeing AI as a tool that amplifies what you can already do. So it's not about being replaced, it's about becoming supercharged.
To really make that happen, though, we have to start with the most important tool you have, your own mindset. So this first section is all about making that huge, fundamental shift from a place of fear to one of opportunity.
Our journey today is pretty straightforward. We're going to start by building that mindset foundation. Then, we'll learn the core skill of talking to AI. After that, I'll show you how to turn it into your own personal tutor. We'll look at some incredible real-world stories, and we'll wrap up with one simple, practical step you can take this week.
So let's build on that. Before we even touch a single AI tool, we have to start right here, with our mindset. Think of it like this. You could have the most advanced power tool in the world, but if you don't know how to hold it or what you want to build with it, it's basically useless. Mindset is truly the foundation for everything that follows.
First up, the growth mindset. This is so crucial because working with AI is all about trial and error. You're going to write bad prompts. You're going to get weird results. A growth mindset lets you see those moments not as failures, but as data points. They're just clues on the path to getting it right. It's all about staying curious and just taking action.
And then there's the ownership mindset. This is a big one. It's the shift from just doing individual tasks to driving a whole outcome. So instead of asking AI, hey, write one email for me, you start asking, how can we build an entire system for better client emails? You're not just checking a box, you're owning the entire result.
Okay, so with that growth and ownership mindset locked in, we can get to the fun part, actually talking to AI. You've probably heard the word prompting, and it can sound super technical, but honestly, it's just about having a clear conversation. And it's a skill anyone can learn. Seriously, you don't need a PhD for this. You can get amazing results just by using these 4 simple techniques. Ask it to explain like I'm 5. Give it a role to play, like a skeptical CFO. Give it a few good examples to follow. Or if you have a really complex problem, just tell it to think step by step. It really is so much simpler than it sounds.
And this right here shows you the night and day difference. A generic prompt like help me with social media, well, it gets you a useless generic answer. But look at that specific prompt. You give it a role, you give it context, you tell it exactly what you want. And just like that, the AI stops being an answer machine and becomes your collaborative partner. That shift right there is the whole game.
So you've got the mindset and you've got the basic skill of talking to AI. Now where do you start? I would argue that the single most powerful first step is using AI for your own learning. Just think about it for a second. AI is like having a personal, infinitely patient tutor for any subject in the world, and it's available 24/7. You can ask it to build you a study plan to learn finance in 2 weeks. You can have it quiz you on an article you just read. You can even ask it to simulate a debate between experts on a topic. It completely transforms learning from just passively reading into a super active, engaging experience. And as we're about to see, that can literally change your life.
All right, this is where it all comes together. The mindset, the prompting, the learning, these aren't just abstract ideas. They are the ingredients for some truly amazing real-world results. So let's look at what this actually looks like through the stories of some real people.
So, let's start with a marketing manager we'll call Sarah. And like so many of us, she was feeling completely buried in work. But what if she could get a huge chunk of her work week back?
By using AI for things like first drafts and brainstorming sessions, she saved a massive 15 hours every single week. But here's the real magic. She didn't use that time to take longer lunches. That new time allowed her to double her content output and, even more importantly, focus on high-level strategy. You know, the kind of work that actually gets you noticed and promoted.
Or how about this one? This is an incredible story of growth. We're talking about a solo consultant who was totally maxed out. She had hit a revenue ceiling and just could not break through it on her own.
See, because of all the admin work, she just couldn't take on any more clients. So she started using AI to automate her proposals, her research summaries, all that administrative stuff. And the result? Her revenue grew by 140% in 1 year, and she didn't have to hire a single person to do it. That's pure leverage.
And finally, this is a story that just shows how transformative this can all be. Meet Marcus. At 35, he decided he wanted to pivot into a new career in tech, starting with zero, and I mean zero coding experience. That is a huge mountain to climb.
He put that whole personal tutor idea to the ultimate test. He used AI to learn, to practice, and to debug his code with him late into the night. And in just 8 months, he landed his very first developer job and doubled his old salary. This is what's possible when you combine that human ambition with an AI multiplier.
Now, what's really fascinating here is how this scales up from individual potential. These stories we just heard, they aren't flukes. They're actually part of a massive trend. The CEO of OpenAI, Sam Altman, he predicts we will see a one-person billion-dollar company. What used to be science fiction is now considered an inevitability, all because of the incredible leverage that AI provides.
So let's bring all of this right back down to earth, back to you, and what you can do, not in some distant future, but this week. So the most important point to remember is this. The goal is not to become some kind of AI expert or programmer. The real goal is to be an expert in your field, whether that's marketing or teaching or art, whatever, and to simply use AI to augment your unique skills in your own human judgment.
And that brings us right back to this one simple question. Forget about trying to transform your entire career overnight. Just think about this week. What is the one single repetitive task at your job that you could experiment with supercharging? Because that small experiment, that's where your own story really begins.